Hello, everyone! I'm sure you missed interesting events and news from the world of gaming, so I've prepared the most interesting news for you that you will definitely like. Before you start watching, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel as it helps us to develop the content. I wish you a good viewing, and we can start! Subnautica publisher Krafton released a new earnings report earlier this week, causing a little bit of confusion among fans. While it originally seemed like Krafton would be making Subnautica 2 a live service title, an update was quickly issued to explain that it simply meant the game will be continually supported, rather than feature any live service trappings such as battle passes or microtransactions. In all that confusion, an image was released of what people must have assumed was either a piece of concept art or a standard screenshot of the first Subnautica. In actuality, developer Liam Tart recently revealed on Twitter earlier today that it's an in-game screenshot of Subnautica 2 that they personally took, which has now essentially become our first proper look at the game. In the screenshot, which has been embedded above, we can see several interesting features, including a new underwater vehicle of some kind. We can also see several new creatures floating around, including a few jellyfish-like creatures, a purple creature on the right, and a large shark-like creature right in the middle, which looks big enough to potentially be a new Leviathan. Tart goes on to explain that Subnautica 2 will see a lot of graphical improvements between now and release, as the developers attempt to stay true to the art style of Subnautica and Below Zero, whilst also utilizing Unreal Engine 5 for higher fidelity. Honestly, the screenshot that's been released looks pretty fantastic already, so it'll be interesting to see what the final product looks like when Subnautica actually releases in early access. As for when that's going to happen, there was a bit of confusion surrounding the release date earlier this week too. Krafton made it seem like Subnautica 2 is planned to launch in early access at some point this year, but developer Unknown Worlds was quick to reiterate that it won't be until early 2025 that we see the game's release. However, it did explain that we'll get more substantial news about Subnautica 2 at some point this year, possibly at one of this summer's big gaming events. Disney has purchased a $1.5 billion stake in Epic Games and teamed up with the company to develop a new expansive, open, persistent, and social universe that will interoperate with Fortnite and let fans play, watch, shop, and engage with their favorite characters and stories from Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, Avatar, and more. The news was revealed during Disney's Q1 FY24 earnings call, and it was announced that this new experience built in Unreal Engine will let players create their own stories and experiences, express their fandom in a distinctly Disney way, and share content with each other in ways that they love. No further details were given about the project or when fans can expect it to arrive, but it is said to be a multi-year project and looks to expand on many of the times Disney and Epic have worked together in Fortnite. In addition to there being Marvel and Star Wars skins in the game, there have also been such live events as the Marvel Nexus War with Galactus that brought in 15.3 million concurrent players. Ubisoft has reported their earnings for the third quarter of their fiscal year 2024, which runs from the beginning of April 2023 to the end of March 2024. And things are looking somewhat up for the Assassin's Creed publisher following rough patches over the last few years. With revenue of 606 million euros, Q3 was down a bit year-on-year, likely due to somewhat disappointing performance of Avatar, Frontiers of Pandora. But Ubisoft is expecting a good Q4 due to Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown and Skull and Bones, with Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot somewhat questionably referring to the latter as a AAA game. While Ubisoft promises a full rundown of their fiscal year 2025 calendar in May, they did clarify some release windows, including the anticipated Japan-set Assassin's Creed codename Red, which is confirmed to be coming sometime in fiscal year 2025. While that means the game could arrive up until the end of March 2025, there have been rumors Assassin's Creed Red will be Ubisoft's big holiday 2024 title. In other 2024 news, Ubisoft also specifically confirmed Star Wars Outlaws is coming out this calendar year. Disney recently let slip that it may also be a late 2024 release. Ubisoft has attempted to defend the £70 RRP of upcoming game Skull and Bones, despite it including elements normally found in free-to-play live service titles. Announced at E3 2017 with an aim to release a year later, Ubisoft's Pirate Simulator is finally releasing next Friday, February 16th. It will include a premium currency for in-game purchases, similar to Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed titles, but also a battle pass with seasonal events, similar to games like Fortnite and Genshin Impact, which cost nothing to download and play. During an investors call, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot was asked to justify the cost, not for ethical reasons, but that the high cost of entry could presumably limit the size of the player base. Guillemot responded by stating, "You will see that Skull and Bones is a full-fledged game. It's a very big game, and we feel that people will really see how vast and complete that game is, so it's a really full AAA, quadruple A game that will deliver in the long run." The rise in prices for new releases is controversial in itself, while in-game purchases, microtransactions, loot boxes, and the like have been heavily criticized for, but not limited to, withholding content to make more money, implementing gambling mechanics, using psychological techniques to take advantage of people, especially neurodivergent people. With Skull and Bones release round the corner, it won't be long before we see if customers want to pay a premium price for a game that locks its content behind a paywall, and in the months that follow, whether they want to pump more money into something they've already spent £70 on. This year, Call of Duty is set to embrace an open-world campaign in Black Ops Gulf War, Insider Gaming has learned. It won't be the first time that the series has seen an open-world XU campaign, though, as the first glimpse of what such a campaign could look like was first explored with Modern Warfare 3 and its open-world missions. However, sources explain that unlike Modern Warfare 3, Gulf War's campaign has been built from the ground up, rather than using assets from previous entries. Currently, the game's open world will see the player and their squad navigate the map more akin to that of Far Cry than anything we've seen before in the Call of Duty universe. Players will be able to utilize vehicles to get around, as well as using a fast travel system to get from one point to the next. Although the scope of how many linear missions there will be remains to be seen, sources confirm that some linear missions will be integrated into the game. The campaign, developed by Raven Software, will see the return of some Black Ops characters, including Adler, who will be a part of your team. Outside of Black Ops Gulf War, sources also revealed that it's likely the series could lean into more open-world campaigns over linear moving forward. Call of Duty 2025, codenamed Saturn, which currently doesn't have an assigned leading developer, is also pitched to have an open-world campaign, with its map being separated into several different biomes at locations. While the pitch for the game is very much in flux due to its early development, it was said that the campaign's shift from linear to open world is primarily based on streamlining development over anything else. But whether this changes or not by release is unclear. Call of Duty. Black Ops Gulf War, currently forecasted to release in October 2024, will be the 6th entry into the Black Ops series. Starfield released back in August of 2023 to fairly positive reception, despite the narrative that now exists online, and was the biggest Bethesda game launch of all time, surpassing 6 million players within a week of release. Now it looks as though Microsoft are planning on bringing Bethesda's newest RPG universe to an entirely new platform. PlayStation 5. According to sources, we understand that currently Microsoft are planning a launch for Starfield on PlayStation 5 post the release of the already announced Shattered Space expansion for Xbox and PC, which is on target to arrive at some point later this year. We've also been informed that Microsoft have made additional investment into PlayStation 5 DV kits to support ongoing development efforts, adding further fuel to the fire. As the already existing rumors have suggested, the idea of bringing first-party titles to competing console platforms marks a massive change in strategy for Microsoft. And from what I understand, it's not been without fierce internal debate on this new direction. Releasing Starfield on PlayStation 5 contradicts the original statement around exclusivity made by President of Xbox Sarah Bond during the Xbox and Bethesda Game Studios Summer Showcase of 2021. According to a recent rumor, it's possible that Uncharted Drake's Fortune, the first game in the popular third-person shooter/action-adventure series from Naughty Dog, could be getting a remake for PS5. Uncharted. Drake's Fortune was first released in 2007 as a PlayStation 3 exclusive. It kicked off what would become one of Sony's biggest franchises, followed by handheld spin-offs, direct sequels, and more across 2 console generations. Uncharted. Drake's Fortune earned mostly positive reviews at the time of its original release, but its sequels are often held in a much higher regard. Bluepoint updated the game for Uncharted, the Nathan Drake collection on PS4, changing the combat to more closely resemble Among Thieves and Drake's Deception, and improving the graphics to better take advantage of the PS4's extra horsepower compared to the PS3. Since Uncharted, Drake's Fortune has already had a remaster. Some may question the need for the game to get a full-blown PS5 remake, but it seems that could potentially be happening. This information comes from the Xbox Era podcast, with hosts Nick Baker and John Clark claiming that they heard an Uncharted 1 remake was pitched some time ago, and that it was strongly considered by Sony. It wasn't claimed that the Uncharted PS5 remake is definitely happening, so fans shouldn't get their hopes up, but it seems that it has at least been talked about in some capacity. The Last of Us co-creator Neil Druckmann weighs in on the concept for the future third installment of the action-adventure game series. There's already some foundation for the storyline, as Druckmann revealed that there was a story written about Joel's brother Tommy after the devastating events of Part 2, though it's unconfirmed if a Part 3 will feature him as a protagonist. I don't have a story, but I do have that concept that, to me, is as exciting as 1, as exciting as 2 is its own thing, yet has this through line for all 3, said Druckmann about a potential Part 3. So it does feel like there's probably one more chapter to this story. It'll likely be years of development before we hear any news about a third game, but in the meantime, why not experience the first 2 games and their remastered editions on the PS5? Recently, the gaming community was thrilled as CD Projekt Red announced that their highly anticipated sequel to Cyberpunk 2077, codenamed Orion, had received a significant boost in talent with the addition of renowned industry professionals. This news was followed by the release of several job listings on CDPR's careers platform, unveiling some intriguing details about the upcoming sequel. The original Cyberpunk 2077 game underwent extensive post-launch development and polishing, which ultimately transformed it into a sublime gaming experience. The release of Cyberpunk 2.0 breathed new life into the game, exceeding fan expectations and cementing its place in the gaming industry. Given this track record, fans are eagerly anticipating the sequel and have high hopes for its success. The job listings released by CDPR offer some initial insights into what gamers can expect from the upcoming Orion sequel. While the details are few, they provide a glimpse into the game's direction and potential features. Here are some noteworthy revelations. CDPR aims to create cutscenes and movie sequences that are not only visually stunning, but also emotionally charged. By infusing these sequences with engaging action, the developers hope to immerse players in an unforgettable storytelling experience. Building upon the success of Cyberpunk 2077, the sequel will see the return of crafting mechanics. Players will have the opportunity to customize and enhance their weapons, gear, and cybernetic implants, further empowering their characters as they navigate the futuristic world of Orion. Orion promises to offer an even more dynamic and immersive open-world experience compared to its predecessor. The job listings hint at a greater focus on open-world events, raising anticipation that players will encounter a wide variety of engaging and unpredictable encounters throughout the game. CD Projekt Red intends to take overall game world design to new heights by potentially introducing multiple maps within Orion. The mention of creating breathtaking worlds suggests that players will explore a diverse range of stunning and visually captivating locations, each with its own unique atmosphere and challenges. One aspect of Cyberpunk 2077 that received praise was the integration of dialogue scenes with gameplay. This seamless blending of narrative and interactive elements allowed for a more immersive and engaging experience, With Orion, CDPR aims to build upon this accomplishment, further blurring the lines between storytelling and gameplay. GTA 6 is scheduled to release sometime in 2025, and the sequel's publisher said during a financial results call that it's looking for perfection before the long-anticipated open-world game finally launches. We're seeking perfection, and when we feel we've optimized creatively, that's the time to release. Strauss Zelnick, CEO of Rockstar parent company Take-Two, said to an investor asking how the publisher decides when release a game like GTA 6. Zelnick went on to assure investors that we're all in this together, and that devs and executives both have financial incentives to ensure that development doesn't drag on forever. There is inherent tension, potentially, between getting something to market and creating perfection, Zelnick said, but this company errs on the side of perfection. In response to another investor, Zelnick said that compared to GTA 5, our sense is that the anticipation is much higher, much higher. On the other hand, 195 million units to date is nothing to sneeze at. We stop well short of making predictions about how the title will do, but clearly anticipation is running very high. By the time GTA 6 launches in 2025, there will have been a 12-year gap between it and GTA 5, by far the longest stretch between major entries in the series. No wonder the sequel is so highly anticipated. As Take-Two notes in its financial report, the first GTA 6 trailer reached 93 million views in 24 hours. The biggest launch for anything besides music videos in YouTube history. That's all! I was glad to see you here. Hope you found it interesting and liked everything. If so, please like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more news and more. Thank you for watching and see you soon!